This story now, nursing union Denosa is threatening mass action over the non-payment of trainee nurses in Gauteng. It says over 700 of them have not been paid for 3 months. It's also unhappy about planned retrenchments. The union will now approach the Premier and Health Department. Denosa Simphiwe Gada joins us now in studio to discuss this further. Good morning, Mr. Gada. Thank you very much for your time. 3 months is honestly too long. What has been the explanation from the department each and every month when they failed to pay the salaries?
Well, thanks for inviting us. There's really no tangible explanation except to be told about budget cuts and so forth. So there's nothing really that we can take that a person who has not been paid for 3 months, that we can attempt to make that person understand why they've not received their salary for over 3 months. So that is why we have taken the decision that we have taken to say that, even the Premier, we have once engaged him. But now, to demonstrate the seriousness of this situation, that is why we have taken the posture that we have taken to say that what we need to do is to go on the streets so that South Africans are aware of what is happening in the Department of Health. Because, if we engage only in the boardrooms, people will think that everything is fine. So now we're bringing this to the attention of South Africans to also understand that when they experience challenges in terms of accessing healthcare, when they spend long times in the waiting queues in clinics, they must understand that it's the government that is at fault by not properly compensating the nurses. And what is said is the fact that here we're talking about people who have just joined the profession. They will not have a good memory of their time when they joined the profession.
This is the first experience they're getting.
Yes, the first experience is a bad experience, and it's kudos to the government of Gauteng that is responsible for that.
But I'm still trying to get understanding. There must have been a reason advanced, because from media reports they're saying there's an administrative or system challenge that they've been having. But one wonders that if you've got a system challenge, it would take maybe the first month for you to correct it. So why is it happening repeatedly? But you're then saying it's actually budget cuts. So which one is it? Is there a system or administrative problem, or it's a budget cut, there is no money?
Well, what they've advanced to us is the issue of budget cuts and so forth. So that is why you are saying there's no tangible reason, because we say this because on the 7th of June, we met with the department. They committed in writing that they will pay all these nurses by the 30th of June. On the 29th, they called us into a meeting to try and give us flimsy reason as to why they cannot pay all of them. It is then that we told them that, you know what, we are going on the streets. Between the 29th,
what was that reason?
They were just saying that there was lack of information in some instances for submission to Treasury and so forth. And then we told them on record in the meeting that we are not happy with their conduct, and we will be embarking on the decision that we have announced. And between the 29th and today, I can tell you that they worked throughout to ensure that all those submissions are made, which clearly demonstrates that if there's a will on their part to solve this problem, they could have solved this problem a long time ago. So now, they have committed to us that by Thursday they would have paid all the salaries. But be that as it may, we'll still continue, with our action, because we need to bring back the dignity of nursing, in this province, because we feel that the Department of Health, in particular the CFO, who has been present in the meetings that we have had with the department, taken decisions and committed. But the CFO has been simply dragging her feet as far as this matter is concerned. That is why we are demanding consequence management on the part of the CFO, Lerato Makyo. We think that the Premier has got to really prove to the nurses that he takes the profession seriously, and they must put that woman on suspension.
Because, when one thinks about it, most citizens really desperately need their salaries, even perhaps 5 days before their salary comes in. If you were to not get your salary 3 days later, that would significantly compromise you. What more 3 months? So how have the nurses been coping? How have they been getting to work, feeding themselves?
We have been making interventions as a union in some instances. For instance, where we could assist others, we could assist not from the union's budget, but from our own personal budgets, because in terms of the subscriptions that we collect as a union, there are certain laws that regulate that we cannot redistribute that money, to other people. So we've been trying really to even approach our stakeholders that we work with to assist. In some instances, we've even approached government to say those who have been unable to report for duty, they must not be, they must not face disciplinary measures because their government is at fault in this instance in terms of not paying people's salaries. Some of them have not even had lunch, toiletries, and that is why in the Eastern Cape, regrettably so, there's one of these, ComServe nurses who took his own life because of the frustration. You can imagine going to varsity, your family expects that, you will come back and improve their lives.
Yes,
and so forth.
And they celebrated your graduation thinking that their lives would change. And you cannot explain that every day I go to work, but I've got nothing to offer the family.
Yes, and now you are the one that must still go back to your parents to ask for toiletries. Imagine. So this is the sad situation. So it tells you that this government lacks, compassion. And what is said is that in the main, the majority of these nurses are black people. Our background, where we come from, given the historical, disadvantage of this country. Every family celebrates when one of their own makes it to university. And we have all grown up, admiring nursing, that at least is one of the noble professions one would get into. But the conduct of the government is making it impossible for people to actually admire the profession and actually want to work in the profession. What is also a contradiction is that the National Development Plan, which is a adopted policy of government, says that they want to create, a health system that is resilient by recruiting more healthcare workers that are skilled in order to realize the national health insurance. But their actions on the ground, are saying the opposite. Like now, we know that those who have completed their community service, the government is actually planning to retrench them. Just on Saturday, I was interacting with young nurses in the West Rand. As of the 30th of June, 20 of them find themselves without a job. So
but
these are some of the
they've
challenges.
Disputed. I know that the department has come out already in the media disputing that there will be no retrenchments.
Well, on Saturday,
had you established from
on Saturday, the same day on Saturday, we were in a meeting with the Department of Health, with the HOD, as well as DDG Besani Paloi. I've informed her of that. What is surprising is that it seems that everybody is doing their own thing in the Department of Health because they were not aware of what I'm saying. As I leave the studio, I will also be making contact with the department because they have promised me that they will address that issue. But for it to even happen, imagine being told that as of the 30th, you are no longer employed. Imagine the emotional trauma that these nurses have to go through. So it tells you that there's no hegemony within the Department of Health. The authority of the HOD, the authority of the CFO, of the HOD, the MEC, is not being respected. So it tells you that we've got people who are working for the Department of Health who are a law unto themselves, who do as they please and victimize young people that want to join this Department of Health in order to serve South Africans. So these are things that we are saying the Premier has got to take charge of the Department of Health together with the MEC. They might exert their authority so that these officials can toe the line.
No, thank you very much, Simphiwe, for your time. That is Simphiwe Gada from Denosa there. Now, the